Dreamvision 7 Radio Network welcomes Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes, heard every Monday at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Using nearly 200 years of abundant and consistent afterlife evidence, quantum physics, consciousness research, and ancient writings, we seek to understand who and what we are, how reality works, the nature of God, and the meaning and purpose of our lives. Join Roberta weekly to better understand our one reality and gain insights into how we can make the most of the glorious eternal beings that we are.
Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Wow, welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes and I'm thrilled that you're with us today. It's important, dear friends, that we never forget that there is one reality. The fact that the mainstream scientific gatekeepers, those university departments, those peer-reviewed journals still are enforcing a materialist dogma that even a great many physicists at this point know is wrong, that fact that their materialist dogma keeps them from honestly investigating reality cannot change what reality is, can it? And the longer mainstream physicists allow that false materialist dogma to dictate what they can and cannot investigate, the deeper into the weeds the core scientific discipline of physics will go. So there's my rant for the day. Because for you and me, there are no limitations. We are free to investigate all of reality, and there are many resources that can help us better understand our shared greater reality, the eternal reality we enter at death, and the wonderful daily reality that's our own complex lives on earth. All of it is one. I love to share with you really good experts in areas where their expertise can help us all better fill in what is a gigantic and really complex one reality. And one of those experts here for the fifth time is a good friend of mine. He's a hypnotherapist, counselor, and a really overall delightful human being, Peter Wright of Santa Barbara, California. Now, Peter is a certified hypnotherapist. He has 25 years of experience, and get this, he's one of only 40 board-certified past life regression therapists in the United States. He's also certified as a Life Between Lives hypnotherapist. Life Between Lives, the hypnotherapist, I'm trying to do this from memory, and I can't anymore, so I'll have to just look at this. But Peter and I have talked about a lot of things on Seek Reality that I think you should go back really and listen to if you haven't heard any of those prior podcasts, because they're all great. I mean, he's really a very reliable guest. He always has wonderful things to say. And these are very, very helpful things for all of us who are trying to understand how reality fits together, what it is, and what is the spiritual physics? Spiritual physics. The important physics is spiritual. What is that spiritual physics of our greater reality? Peter's able to help us with that by quite a lot. In fact, he's helped more than 1,800 people through the use of hypnotherapy-aided counseling, and he's helped me as well. I'm also a client of his. He calls what he does insights from within hypnotherapy. Peter, welcome. I'm so glad you're with us today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, today we're going to talk about how Peter works as a hypnotherapist in partnership with what he calls the higher self and the heart of each of the people he counsels to help them more quickly resolve the problems and issues in their lives. So, Peter, tell us a little bit about what you call your unique approach to hypnotherapy.
I'd be delighted to. I found that using hypnotherapy in partnership with the higher self and heart together, with guidance from your own spirit guides and others from the non-physical realm, can help you resolve problems in your own life so much more quickly than using talk therapy. In fact, many of my clients have gone through months or perhaps even years of talk therapy with mixed results, and that's why they often reach out to me. But by working together, using hypnosis, in person or by phone, we can often resolve some major troubling issues like anxiety, fears, phobias, depression, grief, relationship problems, and questions about your own soul's purpose in just 1 or 2 hypnotherapy sessions.
I know mine have been very eventful, but I just like to give a little background to everyone, and then we're going to go back to seeing how Peter uses this fact. We all have vast eternal minds, and we leave most of those minds behind in our real lives, in the greater reality. We leave them behind when we come to Earth. We have a little subset. It's like you strip down when you go to the gym. You strip down to shorts and a T-shirt. Well, you strip down to about maybe 10, 15% at most of your eternal mind, and you don't have access to the rest of it. So what I think is really important about hypnotherapy is that what I learned, and very dramatically, is Peter can access those parts of your mind that you can't access, and they know a lot more than you do. You'd be amazed how much smarter you'll be when you finally go home. So talk about that. What's the difference between talk and hypnotherapy, Peter?
In talk therapy, we're working with your left brain, which governs your logical and analytical aspects of ourselves. But I find that in talk therapy, you're using your conscious mind, your ego, and your memory. In other words, that mental part of you that's head-based. Talk therapy also is based on the belief that our third-dimensional reality is all there is. There's nothing more than that. Yes. What I can see or hear or feel or whatever. But, there is so much more available to us from the non-physical realm. So, with my approach to hypnotherapy, we're turning to your right brain. In other words, your heart, rather than your head. The right brain governs your intuition, your emotions, your creativity, and your connection to your higher self and your heart. And this also includes all the other guidance that's available to you from the non-physical realm, including your spirit guides and whatever you call the divine. So what I find is that by partnering with your higher self and heart and these other right brain resources, we can get important information from your emotions, from this life and past lives, your physical body, what's happened to it in this life and past lives, because your physical body remembers past lives.
Yes.
For example, I've had a number of clients who have lower back pain, and what we find is by going into that particular past life that created the lower back pain, there's a spear hanging out of the lower back.
Oh, dear. Really? Oh, that's
exactly. And so
that would give you a bad day, wouldn't it? I could see how.
So by taking out the spear, the pain goes away. But most importantly, we're working with your spirit body. In other words, your connection to your higher self, your guides, and whatever you call the divine. So that in reality, we're working with a much larger palette of helpful resources and so many more possibilities that can help you resolve the problems that are issues that you're seeking to heal. So that's why I find that the two most important partners for us in this are your higher self and heart, and that's why I call them your inner wisdom team.
So, but your higher self and what you think of as your heart are not just physical. It's like we're not dealing with your physical body only, but it certainly, based on my experience with you, it certainly includes the part of your mind that you left behind, because there's so much more wisdom in this than your little body could hold. I'm amazed at it, really. Exactly,
because what we find is, as you say, the heart is incredibly wise, and science tells us that the heart's magnetic field, for example, is 50 to 100 times stronger than the brain's. And so when you measure, to me that's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And so when you measure that information flow, that means that 70% of the information flows from your heart up to your brain, while only 30% of the information flows down from the brain to the heart. So that's why we're working with the heart in hypnosis, because it knows so much more about you than the brain.
Oh, wow. Yes. And I just want to emphasize, we're not talking about the matter in your body that's doing this. We're talking about the energy that your body is. It's essentially an energy body. And the part of you that's eternal is part of this. You're like a Matryoshka doll. It's all nested together. So what he is accessing is not just what may have happened in this lifetime, but he can access all of your lifetimes. He can access everything, provided your guides will let it happen. Mine wouldn't, but that's all right. For most people, their guides are not that compulsive. But so what kind of specific thing does your heart tell you then?
Well, your heart, for me, according to what my clients tell me and what I've discovered myself, is that part of you that expresses love, compassion, forgiveness, and all the other emotions that are part of your life. And what I find your higher self offers is it's that part of you that knows everything there is to know about you from this life and past lives, and is eager to be a partner for us during the session. And you're already connected.
Yes, they're already there. Right. Yes, that's an important point. What I found was that this being hypnotized, you think you can't be hypnotized till suddenly there you are. And it isn't, you don't forget what happened during the hypnosis, but it's just that these aspects of you start talking, and you don't know what they're going to say because, of course, even though the words come out of your mouth, it's not you talking. It's these parts that you cannot access otherwise. I was astonished, frankly, to hear some of what you were primarily talking about higher self, some of what it said. It was like, oh, that makes sense, but it was nothing I ever had thought of, consciously.
Well, but what is important is it's coming from within you.
Yes.
Because we're speaking with your true self and the wisdom that is there and is eager to come forth and not only talk to us, but also work with us.
It's kind of wonderful. I mean, I tend to be, I'm totally naked to the people who listen to me because I have nothing to hide from you. And this session we had, which was a couple of years ago now, came at a time in my life when I found myself trying to withdraw from all of this and from what I was doing. And that was part of the reason that Peter was working with me. We also tried to, as I say, do past life regression with less success, but I'll talk about that in a bit. But what we discovered, what my higher self started saying was that I was afraid to become better known. I already thought I was already too well known, and I was afraid it would go to my head. That was a conscious thought I never had. I had no idea why I was feeling inhibited. But all I had to hear was my own voice saying that, and then my guide telling me that I would not do that to free me from what was turning out to be a real handicap. I mean, that was no one else could have done that for me, Peter, but you. And I'm still grateful. More and more now, as people are approaching me and talking to me about things and trying to treat me as different, now I understand how to handle that, which before I never could. I always tried to tell people, I'm nobody. Now I just say, we're all in this together. It's wonderful what you do. It's wonderful.
Thank you. And so we use hypnosis as the way to help connect with the higher self and the heart. And so just perhaps for those who have not heard you and I speak before in earlier podcasts, let me give a brief summary of my perspective on hypnosis. Because for me, hypnosis is just simply focused concentration, where you can hear the traffic outside, you're fully aware of everything that's going on around you, but you're deeply, deeply relaxed. In fact, if you've ever cried while watching a sad film, you've been in trance.
Oh, that makes it sound not as threatening, perhaps, but I found it really very comfortable. You're right. You get very relaxed and mellow, and it's very comfortable. Very comfortable, very safe. I find that while in trance, about 60% of my clients are visual versus about 40% who are more auditory or kinesthetic. In other words, whenever I go into trance, I'm very auditory, so I don't see anything. But those who do see things, it's very visual. They're aware of everything that's going on. The difference is I find that your soul
speaks through your imagination. And your imagination isn't making things up. Rather, it's translating what is inside